Call Mr. Paul. You could interject anytime.
Okay, we can think of the market as divided up into three interconnected markets. The market for consumer goods, the market for investment goods, right? Here, what's the consumer good market? Given the society's capital equipment, think of bread. At any moment in time, there are so many ovens that have been manufactured in the past. And those ovens, along with flour and other ingredients, and obviously the labor services of the baker, enables us to make bread. Okay? So that is the production of consumer goods with our existing supply of capital, the machinery, the oven. Okay? And then there's a market here, the investment goods market. What goes on in the investment goods market? In the investment goods market, that's where capital goods are made. And two types of capital goods are made. You know, the oven eventually wears out from use, right? The oven has to be replaced, wear and tear. And therefore, new ovens have to be made to replace the ovens that get used up, making people bread month after month, year after year. The oven finally wears out. And at the same time, this is also the market that not only is making ovens to replace the ones that wear out, but to make more, and maybe if there's been technological innovation, better ovens. So it's in a given oven, you can make more loaves of bread. Or to devise ways to make the bread in less time, so you can make more loaves of bread during a period of time. Okay? And of course that applies to every good. So this is the market where, given resources and labor, goods are manufactured with the existing stock or supply of capital, machinery, tools, equipment. And here's the market where labor and resources are devoted and employed to make capital goods, the machinery, the tools and equipment that need to be replaced when these wear out, making consumer goods, or to invest in making more, better, improved capital goods, which therefore raises the productive capability of the society over time, where rising standards of living ultimately come, giving us, the workers, more and better and improved tools to produce more goods, given period of time, and often matched by improved quality, features, and characteristics. Right? That's where rising standards of living come. Ultimately from savings that enables investment that improves the capacity of our societies to produce. Okay? Now these markets are interdependent, right? People earn income. And what do? They spend part of their income on consumption. And this is the poor consumer demand at the prices for consumer goods represents the amount of your income that you earn that you devote to buying things as consumers. But we don't always spend all that we earn, right? Sometimes, it doesn't always seem like what you can afford as a student, but people do save. And here's the amount of savings at the particular rate of interest that has come to prevail in the market. Okay? And the society's total income is that which is consumed and that which is saved. And the amount that is saved is available for capital investment, to lend to others in the society for investment. What kind of investments, as I said? To replace capital that gets used up, and hopefully besides replacing capital that gets used up, to invest in making more and better and improved capital so our standards of living rise as the years go by. And that represents the demand for investment goods. It also means that at any moment in time, as we all know, putting our microeconomic thinking caps on again, we live in a world of scarcity. At any moment in time, there's only so much labor available for labor services, only so much resources and raw materials that individuals know about and are presently available to be used to make this product or that product. Only so much existing capital equipment for machines to produce these goods as opposed to some other goods. So the total resources of the society, capital, labor, land, resources, raw materials, are at any moment in time being devoted to supplying either consumer goods or supplying investment goods, replacement capital or new and improved capital. Okay? And that's how the income of the society is divided up, either consumption demand or investment demand, based upon the amount of savings that others have available to them to lend that has not been consumed. And as a result, the resources of the society are devoted either supplying investment goods, replacement or new capital, or supplying finished goods and services with labor and resources with existing capital. Okay? And that gets reflected in another diagram that, if you've had micro or macro, is always in one of the early chapters, the idea of the production possibility frontier. I've got to turn it off, I apologize. That is actually Radio Liberty by a Russian newspaperman who calls me to do interviews about situation in Russia and gets translated and broadcast back into Russia, named Yuri. I will talk to him later to tell him what's right and wrong about Russia. Right now, we talk about the rest of the world. Okay. Yeah.
Excuse me, Dr. Ebeling,
Yes.
in preparation for your presentation,
Yes.
students were given some literature on vegetarianism.
Yes.
And so, what the question I'd like to ask in your
Yes.
presenting all
Yes.
of this, how can government hinder or help in the free flow of money?
Okay. I'm going to get to that. Okay? So what now happens? In the production possibility frontier, what does this mean? It means the scarce resources of society can be used either for purpose A or purpose B, or some combination of them. So at this time, if this is the amount of savings and resulting borrowed money for investment, here we are. Here's the amount of consumption spending, 0, and use of resources for consumption. And here is the quantity of investment, resources devoted to investment, 0. And that's the combination that the society has. Now the problem we face, and which gets to the point now, is that, now what could disrupt this? And that has come from what the central bank in the United States, and as they say, if the United States sneezes, the rest of the world gets a cold. And while the position of the United States as the premier economic engine of the world is changing with the globalized development of and industrialization of parts of Asia and South America, some parts of Africa, and Europe's growing significance as part of the European Union, the fact is that still, and for a period of time into the future, it is more or less still the truth that if America sneezes, the rest of the world gets a cold. And this has been centered in the United States again in creating this crisis. Now what happened is that beginning in 2003, when the U.S. economy had gone through a recession and was bottoming out, the Federal Reserve tried to stimulate the economy out of the recession. And how does the Federal Reserve, like any central bank, have the ability to stimulate the economy? It attempts to induce investment and other related borrowing spending. Now, how do you induce someone to buy more of what you're trying to sell? Well, among those ways, the leading one is what? To lower your price. Imagine if you have a store and you want to attract people to come in and buy more. What is a primary way to do that? You put things on sale, you lower the price. Well, what the Federal Reserve does it has the power to do something that you and I do not have the power to do. And that is to print money. Now, it's not the old-fashioned way like in earlier centuries, like the 19th or early part of the 20th century, where they literally would have a printing press and print a bunch of this stuff. Though this stuff is still printed and we do spend it. This isn't the form in which most money is supplied. It's old checkbook money. It's on ledger books. Okay? We pay by credit card, we pay by check, we pay by bank drafts, but it's no less money. And in the US, what happens is the Federal Reserve goes out into the financial market and it buys up such things as US government securities, Treasury IOUs of the United States government. Now, how does it pay for these treasuries, these US IOUs out in the secondary or financial markets? They just create new money out of thin air. And that increases the appearance of greater money for lending in the market. And what does this increased money supply do? It pushes down the rate of interest. Now what happens?